So Upstart is an AI lender. A really simple way to think about it is lending in the US today is generally done on a very systematic structure. You have this much income and this is your credit score. Therefore, we will give you this loan at this rate. And it's wildly inefficient. Like credit scores were built 30, 40 years ago, but we're still using the exact same ones today. Upstart said, what if we could actually use AI to look at thousands of variables on a consumer and then predict how likely they are to repay a loan and then give them a rate based on that, not just like some very basic grid system. And so they were doing that in personal lending. And the reason they wanted to talk to me was they wanted to get into auto lending. And so they were looking as a way to get into dealerships. So I hopped on the call with them and I knew it was pretty serious. Like Val had given me a heads up, but then I hop on the call and it's like their head of product and one of their co-founders and some like diligence people. But it was a very casual conversation. They were like, listen, this is what we do. This is our business model. We've been looking at the space. We find what you're doing really intriguing and we just wanted to get to know you. But it became really clear to me in that conversation, and one of the reasons we changed our mind about selling was we perfectly needed each other, which I think is a really rare thing in an acquisition. I feel like a lot of times, I'm going to pick on a little bit on Dropbox and Yahoo and Google. Like some of the acquisitions, if you look at the acquisitions they've done, it's almost like we don't know what to do next in our business. So let's buy someone and see if it becomes our next big thing. Like Dropbox, I think for a long time has sort of had their file storage thing. And then you see them like buying Mailbox and these are the companies because they're just like, we've hit the natural limit of people who want to store files with us. We need to find something else. Whereas with Upstart, it was more like we built this AI lending model that is amazing in personal lending. Auto is obviously the next place you would go. And we need someone like you to do it. And for us, the thing that we knew would really make our business work was not just getting a bunch of lenders, because like I said, it was a bake-off for every loan. So it was getting a lender that could provide better offers to the consumer and the dealer than the dealer was already getting. And so looking at like Upstart under the hood, it became clear, I think they can blow out every other lender that the dealer is working with. This is a new lender that they've never heard of. And so by bringing that to the table, it's like going to 10x everything. And so I literally, the like cheesy saying 1 + 1 = 3. I looked at it and I was like, this is one of those like 1 + 1 = 1,000. Like we directly need each other. And it just feels so obvious. So I can tell the whole story if you want to hear. Like, I mean, it was a quick timeline. So
keep going.
Yeah. So I had the conversation with them on Monday, and they were really they wanted to get to know me, but I would say more so they were here. Let me give you a look under the hood of Upstart, which I thought was really cool. Like it worked. I was like, Upstart's amazing. Like what they're building is so cool. So they said, can you do the same on Wednesday? Can you show us a little bit behind the scenes on Prodigy? We want to see like how this all works. So I did I built a presentation Tuesday, presented it to them, and it was, I think this was actually one of the most critical things in our sales process. I built a presentation that literally, it was like 18 slides. There wasn't a single thing about revenue, margins, like any of that. All it showed at the end of the day was basically, here's how many cars we're selling per month today. Here's our growth projections for the next 3 years. And then here's a few estimated conversion rates on how many loans we think we could actually sell if you were to work with us. And it's like, you can plug your own numbers into this Upstart. If you think we're not going to sell 3%, you think we're going to do 1% of loans, whatever. And then the question is, if you were to add that many loans to your business, how much would your market cap go up? And like, if you played it out 3 years from then, even the worst estimation would have told you like Upstart's going to add $1 billion plus to their business if they buy us. And that's like sort of like the worst case scenario if you were to draw the conclusions in my slides. And so I think because of that, we never actually discussed my revenue during the sales process. Like they never once asked me before they gave me a term sheet. And so had the call Wednesday. After the call, I was on the phone with Paul. He said, hey, can you stick around? He said, listen, we really like what you're doing. Like if we were to buy this, what would it cost? And They're always like, don't give the number first. I probably shouldn't have, but I just said, listen, I mean, it was just like so casual, like kind of like the way we're talking now. Like it wasn't this big pitch meeting. So I was like, we're going to raise our Series B based on the market. I think it's going to fall between $80 to $100 million post. We might get lucky and we might do like a $200 million post or something, but this is my guess based on the conversations I'm having with investors somewhere in there. So I was like, it would have to be competitive with that for me to consider this. Because if you're going to give me an offer that's way below what I can get valued in the Series B market, I'm just going to go do that. And in my head, I was thinking like, they'll probably land, 70, 75, and I was like, that's still pretty good money. Like I would never have to work again a day in my life. And that's pretty good for a
How
kid.
much do you own of the company at this point?
16%.
You own 16.
Yeah. So I'm making 10 million plus on this. And I like for a kid who grew up skipping meals to like save money for his family, like I'm pretty happy with that.